Hi, I'm Sonia, and I'm going to be giving you a presentation today about forestry, specifically riparian forest buffers from Lake County Soil and Water Conservation District. So, forestry is really important in northern Minnesota, and it's linked to water quality. Northeastern Minnesota forests, they undergo succession or forest change primarily through windfall, trees falling down in the forest, or fires. After peak logging in the late 1800s, many fires came through the region, leaving vast tracts of land open for succession. Birch and aspen or other pioneer species that like sun-loving habitat without a lot of competition, they came in and populated these open areas that was once the conifer-dominated North Shore. Without conifers populating the stream's shorelines, birch, aspen, and shrubby species dominated our riparian areas. These species are shorter lived and have shallower root systems, meaning they don't provide as much stabilization along our shorelines and banks. They also don't provide long-lasting or robust shade canopies, meaning temperature rises more in the stream. All of these factors contribute to worsening water quality in our lakes and rivers, from increased erosion and therefore more sediment in the stream to increased water temperatures. All of this has led to the forest successional cycle being interrupted. With logging and fires throughout the last century, the conifers, or evergreens like white pine and cedars, their seed stock for area forests was depleted. As white-tailed deer preyed upon young resprouting conifers, the evergreen giants were unable to return to their once dominating presence along the North Shore. This means that forest succession in the area, or forest's ability to respond to change and move from a pine forest to birch and back again, is interrupted. Existing birch or aspen forests don't have any conifers in the understory to grow back up. In addition to historical land use practices like logging, forests have pressures that make it hard for them to do well right now, including invasive species, forest pests, deer eating them, climate change, and more land use change like building houses or trails. One of the most important parts of our forests, especially important in this region, and important to protecting water quality, are our riparian forest buffers. The riparian zone is an area of plants along a forest buffer which are natural or planted woodlands adjacent to water bodies. They're designed with trees, shrubs, and grasses to protect water resources from non-point source pollution. That includes things like sediment, nitrogen, and phosphorus. You can see an example in the picture of a forested area along a river, or a riparian forest buffer. The benefits of riparian forest buffers are that they can help protect aquatic habitat, clean water, and a lot of other things. They reduce the amount of sediment, excess nutrients, pesticides, and other pollutants entering streams, ditches, lakes, wetlands, and other surface water. They can also prevent pollutants from agricultural runoff or sediment, like in our area, from entering the water. Riparian buffers also enhance wildlife habitat, including through the provision of shade, habitat, and food, which are especially important for cold water species like trout. Riparian buffers also have benefits to private property owners through the provision of recreational opportunities, additional income, and of course, scenic beauty. Riparian buffers, how big should they be? Well, it kind of depends on the size of the stream and what the goals of a project might be. Easements are things that can help protect riparian forest areas, like aquatic management areas provided through the Minnesota DNR that are for trout. They're usually 80 to 100 feet. Some old ones are 1 rod's width, or the length of a canoe, 16.5 feet, but now they're usually about 100 feet. When the Soil and Water Conservation District, when we install forest buffers, they're usually at least 35 feet. That's a practice recommendation provided to us from the Natural Resource Conservation Service or from the federal government. Sometimes if there are more high nutrient areas, like you have a sled dog kennel and there's a stream nearby and you are planting a riparian forest buffer between them, you might want a larger area for the riparian forest buffer of 50 feet. Whatever the distance, you want the riparian forest buffer to help protect runoff and erosion to protect the water quality. Canopy cover can affect the physical properties of the stream itself as well. Canopy cover, or how the trees, like the canopy of the tree, the top of it with all the leaves, it provides shade and is important in keeping water temperatures low, especially in small headwater streams, like tributaries of a major trout stream. Fish and other organisms are sensitive to high temperatures and will lose habitat with climate change as temperatures continue to rise. Tree canopies also contribute organic matter by dropping leaves and debris directly into the stream, an important source of food and habitat for fish and critters. The importance of a canopy cover decreases as rivers get larger. Humans can affect the riparian management zone as well. You see here a picture of Gooseberry State Park, and if you were to visit Gooseberry, you'd see a lot of the trails near there have caused erosion near Gooseberry's main falls area, which is destabilizing the bank and losing some of the stream riparian functions. Other types of clearing, like from agricultural, logging, housing, or development, can impact the riparian management zone. Humans can also introduce invasive species like purple loosestrife or buckthorn, or perhaps they're utilizing the riparian management zone for grazing. This isn't common in our area, but cattle and livestock near streams can overgrazing can result in an inability of plants near there to recover and plant loss. Cattle might also use the stream for drinking, which can lead to bacteria impairments in the water. Recreation, of course, like I mentioned with Gooseberry, is an important part of humans' use of the riparian management zone, and we can cause trampling, littering, or heavy trail use leading to erosion, which will impact water quality. This is an example of a riparian management zone along the Knife River Copperhead Road. We've since restored this area with some geomorphology and difference, which is where we work with the water and the soils to manage the sediment loading or the erosion that's happening in the stream. But you can see here that we're missing a lot of our trees right near the shoreline's edge, and the trees that exist there, like a lot of our birches and aspen, have no canopy in the shoulder seasons or in the winter. And so we want to plant more conifers in this area to increase the canopy cover and reduce the amount of temperature rise in the stream. We can do lots of different things to help protect our riparian management areas. We can protect them through different easements. We can also plant trees and create new riparian forest buffer areas. That happens a lot in the southern part of the state in agricultural regions. We can also maintain existing forest buffers, such as through stand conversion and gap management, which we'll show you more of in a second, which are ways that the SWCD is helping do that. This is a Conservation Corps crew member planting a tree along a riparian management area in the Baptism River watershed. Whenever we're planting trees, including in riparian management areas, in northern Minnesota, we really need to protect them from animal browse. Welded wire cages can help protect trees and shrubs from deer browse. You can also use bud capping, where you put a piece of paper on the terminal or top bud of the tree, or use deer-resistant sprays to protect trees and shrubs. But we usually use caging when we conduct projects. Stand conversion is an important piece of this. Some areas, riparian areas in northern Minnesota, they'll benefit from a timber stand conversion to long-lived conifer species. You can see in the picture here, this is mostly birch and aspen, and so we're talking about converting it from a forest that looks like this to one that looks like pines and other conifers. Long-term benefits of this conversion include improved fish and wildlife habitat, as well as improved overall forest health. Stands are selected, when they're selected for treatment, are primarily older aspen and dying birch with few long-lived conifer species in the understory. It's common for portions of these sites to be heavily impacted by beaver, leading to a brush-dominated shoreline or understory. In these conditions, conifer regeneration is likely to be outcompeted by brushy species like hazel, dogwood, and mountain maple that are dominating the understory. Releasing existing conifers, planting more, and ensuring these trees have a realistic chance to grow to maturity represents the best good faith effort to benefit fish, wildlife, and improve overall forest health in the long term within a reasonable budget. You can do stand conversion by delineating the sites based on the stand condition, such as geographical, political, ownership boundaries, and budget. You can see one of our technicians, Darren, here, looking at a stand conversion that the SWCD did at Pickerel Lake in the northern part of Lake County. Then we would want to cut undesirable brush and tree species, especially around existing young desirable ones. Plant selected conifer species based on the site conditions and soils, such as white pine, cedar, or white spruce, black spruce. Protect seedlings from deer via bud capping or tree cones or protectors, like you saw in the caging example in the image 2 slides before. You want to release the seedlings the next year from brush species regrowth. Basically, cut the area again, minus the trees that you planted. This allows the new trees to get enough sunlight. Why would we do this? Well, it helps provide greater soil stability and therefore better water quality for the adjacent water body. It improves wildlife habitat, improving nesting habitat for birds and thermal cover for ungulates, or that's like deer and moose. Improve fish habitat. Conifers will provide better shade or cooler water and better large wood habitat, like trees in the stream, when fallen into the water body. Conifers are more rot resistant than maple or birch and some of the other hardwood species. That concludes the presentation about riparian forest management and riparian forest buffer zones. If you have questions, please email swcd@co.lake.mn.us and check out our page for more activities and lesson suggestions.